Sí, esto.
That goes for me.
It's hanging very low.
It's hanging low. It's such a sweetie pie. So a few people in the last post that I made asked me how I met Thoth. Yeah, I want it to be like up there. Like that.
You do?
Yeah. Looks pretty. Hello everyone. A few people, two separate people asked me in my last post that I made, very long post that I made, how I met Thoth. And it's very funny to realize that I have never shared this story. I think I just assume people know or something. I don't know. It says, hi Thoth. Say hi Thoth. Oh.
Who?
Who's Thoth? I call him Bunny. Will you stay here with me? If maybe. You don't have to. He's a monk. Bunny is very much a. I call Thoth Bunny. That's his name to me. If I call him Thoth, it's weird. So, yesterday I was feeling very discouraged about social media and wanting to shut it all down because I spend a lot of time sharing and put a lot of energy and effort and vulnerability into it. And most of the time I don't feel like it's really doing much of anything. And when people ask questions, it really means a lot to me. And few people asked me directly, who is Thoth? Sorry. Sorry. I don't know what I'm talking about.
There's a bunny right there. There's a little bunny.
Isn't that cute?
That's funny.
So, asked me how I met Thoth, and it's so funny because I've never told the story. I've never told the story of how I met Thoth.
Not on this.
Not on Instagram. And I guess
everywhere else.
Yeah, I've told everybody that we've met. If anybody who meets us says, "How did you meet each other?" Of course, because it's as magical of a story as anyone could imagine it is. And I guess I just assume a lot of our friends know. A lot of the people that have known us for a long time, of course, they know how we met. So there he is. Look. Thoth is a monk, my friends, and he doesn't really get on.
Fire.
Oh my God! Hi! Oh my God! Hi, sweetie! Hi! Oh my God! It's been too long. Stay on and listen to the story.
Yellfire knows the story.
Does Yellfire know the story?
Yeah.
Do you know the story of how we met? I think we told you
this.
this mystical story. So we're doing a story time. Story time. Hello. I'm about to tell the story of how we met each other. So it's pretty a magical story. Yay! Okay. She says I'm listening. I think so, but I want to hear again. Excuse me. I'm still getting over being sick. It's so nice when you're just there. Look at him. He's all dressed up with nowhere to go. Look at him. Come here. Show everyone how pretty you are. He's a sweet one. He doesn't like coming on these things because he's an old little monk and he likes to be quietly on his own. And you don't like this stuff, do you?
No.
No, I know. No one would know that, well, no one would know pretty much anything about us if I wasn't sharing online. I don't know why I do a lot of the time. Anyway, yesterday I was very seriously questioning myself. You all provided me so much joy during my formative years after moving to New York. Wow, that's amazing. I see, and I know
beautiful.
What's interesting about this Instagram page is that
See if this gets over your head now, because I made it.
Sure, it won't.
No, it's too small.
Don't ruin my hair! So, the thing I find really interesting about this particular Instagram page is that a lot of people are following us. I mean, a lot of people are following us who knew us long before I ever started sharing on this channel, and had known about us and had seen us play in various places. And I wasn't sharing much on this page for a really long time. I had the page open for many years before I ever started sharing anything on here. Because, social media is just kind of idiotic and stupid and a waste of time most of the time. But a lot of people started following us who had seen us play in various parts of the world. And there are a lot of people who are like old-time fans from 15 years ago, 20 years ago, who know us from that long ago and have and are following us on this particular channel. And that's amazing to me. People leave comments, and a couple people left comments on the last video I made saying that they, saw us play in New York City 15 years ago, or saw Thoth playing 20, 30 years ago. And that's just amazing to me. Bunny, will you come over and say hi again?
Yeah.
So, and I call Thoth Bunny. That's my pet name for him. I don't call him Thoth. And he doesn't call me Lila, he calls me Sweetie. It would be weird if he started calling me Lila, or if I called him Thoth. So the way...
You call me Thoth more than I call you Lila.
Yeah, you never call me Lila. Ooh, it's weird. It's just weird if he calls me Lila. Sounds like I'm in trouble or something. He's making me a necklace. Anyway, so I've just kind of assumed that everybody has known the story of how I met Thoth.
It's too high.
Yeah, it's too small. But most people don't. Most people have no idea how we met each other. And it's a miracle. The way we met each other is completely miraculous. The fact that we're still together after 15 years and we're 33 years different in age is just phenomenal. He's almost 70 and I'm 35. Look at this sweet one. He's such a sweetie. Do you have anything to say to our friends? Nothing. Nothing to say. Well, say hi to Thoth, everyone. Say hi to Thoth. Hello, Thoth. How is Thoth doing? He definitely has a lot to say, but he says a lot to me. He just doesn't talk much on the internet. Okay, so I'm getting into this story. Hi, Thoth. Someone says hi, Thoth. Hi.
They don't see me on here very
No,
much.
you never come on here. I have to force him to, I put the camera in front of him and force him to talk, and then he feels better after a while, having me hold his hand and asking him questions and stuff. Sweetie. So the story of how Thoth and I met is amazing, and it's for the history books, and it's a story I've been writing down, and I mean to make a book out of it because it's the most incredible story.
Well, you keep
Hello
saying it's incredible.
to both of you. Happy to hear from you in real time. My friends saw you perform at the Fairy Gathering in North Carolina, and I've been following since North Carolina. You mean Nashville? You mean Tennessee? I think you mean Tennessee.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah, we Fairy Gathering is interesting. That's something I need to write a book about. Something I need to, and I'm working on it over time. Maybe I'll write it before I die. So, Tennessee, yeah, it's Tennessee. We've never been to North Carolina. So, I was 20 years old, and I had moved back to New York City from Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville was where I grew up. I was born in New York City, as was Thoth, but I didn't grow up there. My family moved me to Nashville, me and my twin sister, when we were 5, and we grew up there for about 14 years. And I hated Nashville. I grew to appreciate it as I got older. I had to go home in the last couple of years to clean out my mother's house when she died, which was traumatic, and that's a whole other story. But my mother allowed me to... Are you making noise?
I am?
Yes. I was... My mother allowed me to move back to Nashville. Sorry. My mother allowed me to move to New York City after I refused to go to any other college or conservatory anywhere else. I was just like, I needed to move to New York. I was 20 years old. I loved New York City. We went to New York City every summer as children and loved it, and went to see, Phantom of the Opera. Nashville's where I first saw you two. I'm also from Nashville. Wow. Hi, I'm so glad to see you both. I'm so sorry your travel's been rough in Chiang Mai. How are you both today? Oh, so sweet. We're doing better. We're doing better now. I've been having some pretty rough experiences. I was throwing up and sick and all of this stuff, and still just getting over my illness.
You're quite digressive.
I'm sorry. So I'm telling the story of how I met Thoth. So I moved back to New York City when I was 20, and my mother allowed me to, but she said that I had to go to school. I was 20, and I'd spent a year studying opera, studying voice in Kentucky. I had a really great voice teacher there, but I just refused to. I didn't want to go to school anymore, really. School was bullshit. But my mother insisted that I go to some kind of schooling. And so I agreed. And she said, if you're able to get into a conservatory in some kind of schooling in New York City, then I will pay. If you can find a relatively inexpensive school, conservatory or music conservatory to go to, and you get in, then I will pay for you to go, and I'll get you a place to live, and you can move to New York City. And so I agreed. And I don't really know what it was that was driving me to New York City. It was Thoth. As I learned in hindsight. But, so I went and I auditioned for one school. I auditioned for Circle in the Square Theater School in New York City. And I did that the summer before I moved there. My sister came with me, and we went to New York by ourselves, and it was this crazy adventure experience. 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds in New York City. But I remember being on the bus going back to the airport after I did this audition the summer before I met Thoth. And after I'd done this audition, and thinking I hadn't done a very good job with this audition. It was in a basement, and it was a very strange experience. And the man who was auditioning me wasn't even looking at me. But I sang for him, and that made me feel good. Because I'm not an actress. I wasn't an actress. I'm a singer. So I remember when I was on the bus before I was accepted into the school, driving back to the airport, going back to Nashville from New York City, and just feeling this intense pull, this intense feeling of like, I need to be in New York City. There's something in New York City that I need to be there for. I didn't know what. I have very strong intuition. Who's saying? Met Thoth in New York City about 20 years ago. Met Lila and Thoth in the Angel Tunnel in New York, wishing you both good health and love. Thank you so much. That's incredible. See, there are some people on this channel that come say hi, Bunny. There are some people on this channel who have been following us for 15, 20 years. That's incredible. It's amazing. Thank you very much for that.
Part of the showing up.
Yeah, people are writing and saying hello. So after that summer of doing that audition for Circle in the Square, I got a letter from the conservatory saying I was on the backup list, and it was, I didn't know what to think about that. And I'm an ambitious, strong-willed woman, and so I called them every day. I was just obsessively calling the school every single day to say, is there space left? Is there space available? Because they said once someone on the main list drops out, then you will be considered. You will be able to, have a position in the school. And so I just called every single day, just asking, is there a spot available? Is there a spot available? And then one day I got this magical phone call saying, surprise, you now have someone dropped out, and you were the first person on the list, and so we called you, and you were the first person on the list because every time you called, we put your name at the top of the list. Isn't that an incredible story? This is not the story I'm meant to tell, but this is like pre me moving to New York City.
I haven't heard that either.
No, it's an incredible story. And so I just remember I was living in Nashville and I was so miserable and so just isolated and unhappy because I didn't fit in and I don't fit into anything, as I've learned as I've grown up. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm going to move to New York City and I'm finally going to be accepted and I'm going to be in a conservatory and be surrounded by people who love and accept me for who I am. Surprise, surprise, I moved to New York and that wasn't the case. I was in this dungeon basement full of a bunch of catty, pretentious, cookie-cutter people who all looked the same and were very competitive and very I didn't know how to relate to anyone. And this was the fall of 2008 when this was happening. And I eventually I had my head shaved. I was, just a little freaky girl, and I ended up wearing pink wigs to class and dressing like a clown, and just that was my only way to express myself of my frustration with just feeling so isolated. And this was only about a month before I met Thoth. So when the time came, that was October 2008. And in November of 2008, I went to one voice lesson. It was like $100, I sang Gilda from my favorite opera, Rigoletto, Gilda's famous aria, and I sang it all the way through, and I was just amazed with myself for what I could sing, how well I could sing at 20 years old, because I studied opera and all of these things growing up and wanted to be an opera singer. And I already could play violin. I'd studied violin since I was 7, before I met Thoth. So after this voice lesson on the Upper West Side, this was October 11th, 2008, I wandered into Central Park, and I was feeling incredibly isolated and lonely, and I had no friends, I had no money, my family was back in Nashville, my sister was in college somewhere in Chattanooga, and I was just so lonely and just struggling so immensely. And I remembered this fountain with an angel on top of it, from when I was little. We would always go into Central Park when we were kids and see the angel fountain. And so this angel on top of the fountain that Central Park, the Conservatory of Flowers, mixing things up. Central Park, the angel fountain. I always knew the Bethesda fountain, right? I knew this place from my childhood, and I remember walking around the park after this voice lesson and asking people, "Do you know this fountain with an angel on top of it?" I was just looking for it, and I had no idea what a big place this would be in my life. The angel fountain, the angel tunnel. And I found it, and I went there, and I think I'd seen Thoth kind of wandering around that area, either packing up or something. And he was, dressed in this strange way, and I was very egotistical when I was that age, when I was 20 years old. I was very full of myself and very sure of myself, which I still am, but the ego thing has diminished a lot. Self-confidence has replaced it, I think. But I remember thinking when I first saw Thoth, I didn't see him playing, I just saw him. And I had seen him on America's Got Talent a few years prior. I think he was on America's Got Talent in 2006. And I'd seen him just very randomly on TV. And saw him on the steps of the tunnel and recognized him. And I remember thinking very negatively of him and going oh, he thinks he's so great, because that show made him look bad. America's Got Talent makes people look very bad. And I would never go on something like that, ever. And I remember later watching videos of him on America's Got Talent, and it just filling me with rage and making me want to punch the screen, because they were just assholes to him. But that particular day, October 11th, 2008, I wandered into the angel tunnel. I was listening to music, like I always did. And I saw him, but he was standing on a box in the middle of this tunnel, his foot drum that he built. And he was just standing there, and he had a gold loincloth, the legendary Thoth costume outfit that he had. The gold loincloth, the famous bells around his ankles that he still has today, somehow, the oldest things he owns. And the red feather in his hair and these beautiful dreadlocks, tied up on his head. And the gold makeup and, silver chains around his beautiful bare chest. And I was just like, I just stood there. I was 20 years old. I'd never seen anything like that in my life. I'd grown up being obsessed with Cirque du Soleil. I auditioned for Cirque du Soleil when I was 19. I wanted to be in Cirque du Soleil. I wanted to be an original creative artist. I didn't even know where to begin. Because up until that point, I had only sung other people's music. I'd sung music from operas and musicals, just like everybody else did, just like any other very talented young soprano. And so I wanted to be like that, and so when I saw him, I was just like, oh my God, he was standing in the middle of a public space, and he obviously wasn't young, he wasn't like an old man, but he was obviously not like a kid. And, I couldn't tell how old he was because he seemed this ageless being, timeless, ageless being, which he still is. Still looks like that to me. And he started spinning this thing. It was the spirit catcher, which was just so mesmerizing. And then he started to play, and he opened his mouth and did this Anya, this whole thing. And he's doing his ceremony, and I just happened to be there for the very beginning of his performance ceremony. And I was just completely mesmerized, like thousands of people have been mesmerized by Thoth and blown away by him. But unlike most people, when he finished singing, me and my wild, enthusiastic 20-year-old self, I ran up to him when he finished, and I was just screaming and cheering like I did back then. And I was just like, oh my god, your voice is just so incredible, because I'd grown up like dreaming about singing with countertenors. Isn't that weird? And I had a countertenor for a voice teacher for a long time, like when I was 16, 17 years old. And I actually had visions and dreams of singing with a countertenor when I was younger. And the countertenor voice is my favorite voice, besides like bass baritone. That's another, and coloratura soprano. But the countertenor voice is like, when it's really well done, countertenor voice is like my favorite voice. My favorite vocal fach, as they call it in vocal pedagogy. And Thoth was a classic countertenor, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. And I was hearing it in the middle of this tunnel. For anybody who's just showing up, I'm telling the story of how I met Thoth. Excuse me. And he was just so serene. He was so just mesmerizingly gentle, and he was kneeling down on his little pad after he'd finished his first little Anya performance, and he just after I said this to him, this key word, I basically said the key phrase that caused him to open up to me. I said, "You're a countertenor. I love your voice." And he just looked up at me, and despite my crazy, stupid, innocent, wild 20-year-old energy, he recognized that I was intelligent. And he said, "You're intelligent." Because most people don't use that word. Most people say falsetto. They say, "I like your falsetto." And he's not singing in falsetto. He's singing in a full voice, countertenor voice. And I didn't need to be told what he was doing. I didn't need to be told that he was singing in a language that he created himself. I didn't need to understand what he was doing. I just intrinsically knew what he was doing. And I just, like, he's right over there. He's right there. He's right there. Won't you come closer to me, please? Just a little closer so people can see you while you're working. There we go. So, and I said, after I said that, I said, I'm going to come back tomorrow, and I'm going to dress up, and I'm going to dance with you. And he, looked up at me and said, yeah, whatever. Not really, but he was just, he's not as jaded as I am, and he's half my age now. But he'd already been through a lot, and I know that he didn't believe me. Can you tell people what you thought of me in that moment? Like, what was happening for you, please?
I hadn't ever heard anybody call me a countertenor or straight off.
Straight off.
And so it was, I just said you were intelligent, and then you said you were going to come back, and I didn't. Well, you could, maybe, or maybe not, but I just was neutral to it, and I let it be what it was, and I said, all right, well, we'll see.
That's who you are.
And you can continue now.
Okay, so stay with me.
I'll try.
Please. Unless it's inconvenient to you. Do whatever you want to do. So when I think I came back that weekend, or I came back the next day. I came back very soon. I was in conservatory, and I was trying to go to school and see Thoth at the same time. But the school was on 55th Street, right near Times Square, so I was really close to the park, and I would run to the park and run to school. And so basically it was like the next day or something. That's my memory of it. And I dressed up. I had my little pink wig, and I was dressed like a little clown. And I remember going into the bathroom at the where you go down the stairs into the tunnel, and I was pumping myself up basically, and saying, I'm gonna dance with him. I'm just gonna throw myself into this and do this thing that I've always wanted to do. Just intrinsically in my subconscious mind, I just wanted to be a performance artist. That's what I wanted to be. I didn't know that at the time. But I wanted to just be a spontaneous improvisatory artist that I am now. I wanted to be what I am now, and I saw that in him. And so I pumped myself up in the mirror, saying you can do it. Just go, run down the stairs and sing and dance and do whatever. And so I did. I basically just flung myself down the stairs. You don't have to stay if you don't want to, but I want you to. So I... It's distracting me. So, sorry, I was distracted. So I did. This was a few days after I met Thoth in 2008. And I was in this crazy outfit and dressed like a little clown. There's some photos floating around of me from that time, which are amazing to see. And 20 years old. And I basically just flung myself down the stairs of the tunnel, and I just fell on the ground and just started basically writhing around to his music. And instead of Thoth staring at me or looking at me funny or hesitating or just any kind of hesitancy or doubt or making me feel like I shouldn't have done that, or what are you doing? You're interrupting my performance. He just came over me and started singing to me. And it was the most phenomenal thing that anyone had ever done for me. We'd literally just met and spoken for a few minutes. He was 54. I was 20 years old. He was with somebody else at the time. It's a big mess. But I was in that moment, I'd never been in love with anyone. I was 20. I think I'd had a boyfriend once for a hot second when I was 16 that I didn't even really consider a boyfriend. I've never had sex. I'm still a virgin to this day. So I never was in a relationship with anyone. And so I didn't really even know what I was feeling at the time. but it was love. I fell in love with him in that moment because he was fucking standing over me in this beautiful, sexy. He was so beautiful. That's so beautiful. He was so beautiful. If you see photos of him from back in that time, 15 years ago, he was a stunning, like, statuesque being. And I still, even to this day, he's like this beautiful, most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I'm his biggest fan, as you can tell. And he is mine. So, he was just singing over me as he does to this day. And it was just complete trust and complete surrender to me and complete me surrendering to him. And it was like I was looking at my future husband, but I didn't know that at the time. Of course, I didn't know what the hell was going on. Yes, he is beautiful. Yellfire says, yes, he is beautiful. Mm-hmm. Isn't he beautiful? Whoa.
Here it is.
Oh my god, that's so scary. We're being bombed. Oh. These planes have been going over us all day. It's scary.
For about a long time.
A day or two? The last couple of days? I don't know. They're probably doing drills or something. So that was the moment. I fell in love with him, and I just was like, and I didn't know that. I didn't know what was going on, and I didn't try to figure out what it was I was feeling. Thoth ended up giving me all of his albums. That was back in the day when CDs existed, and he had CDs. He had all of his music on CD, and he had the Herma. He had the whole thing, 3-act opera, and he had it there, and he just gave it to me. And I had a CD player, so I listened, went back to I was basically living in a building that was run by nuns on 57th Street between 10th and 11th Avenue, really close to the school I was going to. And I listened to all of his music, and I memorized everything. I memorized all of his music, and back then he was playing his music very similarly to how the album sounded. He would repeat. He would actually sing the songs as he sang them on the albums that he made. And we don't do that anymore because I hate repeating songs and I hate singing things over and over again in the same way. Actual nuns. I'm a cradle Catholic. I'm very curious. Yes, they were nuns. They were Catholic nuns. Yes, they were. They were really sweet for a while, but they started getting very disturbed by me after a while because of everything that happened. They were really sweet initially, but yes, it was Catholic nuns. I was not living in a nunnery, but it was like a house. It was a building that was run by Catholic nuns that had. It was almost like a women's dormitory, and women stayed in rooms. 2 people stayed together, kind of like a hostel. It was inexpensive, and it was on very close to Broadway and very close to Circle in the Square Theater School where I was going to school. So he's still here. So so. It was basically within 4 months of us meeting, we started playing together. And I had my 21st birthday with him at his house. He invited me over to his house in February in New York City. I went a few months after I met him. I met him on October 11th, 2008. And I went home for Christmas. December 2008. And I said, Mom, Dad, I met this guy in a tunnel. And they were very worried for me. Me meeting Thoth, and my parents, my mother in particular, never actually really accepted Thoth in my life. These planes. They're probably just doing drills or something. We're in Chiang Mai, by the way. So, yeah, when I went home and I told my parents that I met this guy in a tunnel and I met Thoth, and I was like, they weren't very thrilled, of course, but I had my violin. And so I brought my violin back. I hadn't played it in years because I got tendonitis and my hands hurt. And I didn't really enjoy playing violin because I grew up doing Suzuki and all this bullshit. That just makes you hate playing violin. It's just horrible. Everybody's having to go ding 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 ding. It's just horrible, horrible way of teaching people how to play music. But I definitely learned a lot about how to play by ear, and I never learned how to sight read or read music or anything, or theory or any of that bullshit. Don't care about that at all. I do everything by ear. Because I'm good. I'm really talented that way. Sorry, these planes are distracting me. So I brought my violin back from Nashville, and I brought it to the Angel Tunnel, and I played there in the freezing cold by myself. I wish I had a camera back then. I wish I was filming this whole thing back then. It's incredible what happened. And Thoth invited me back to his house. He was living in Kew Gardens in Queens, and he had a girlfriend named Susanna, who we're still friends with now. She actually came to visit us at the tunnel in Golden Gate Park during the pandemic with her wife. She married a woman, interestingly enough, and that's an interesting story. So, yeah, and Susanna was incredibly kind to me and accepting of me, this little kid running around their little apartment drawing pictures, and we would practice together. We would basically try to see if we could do this thing together, because basically Thoth was in this position where he needed help because he was fucked up. His hands were numb. He was 54 at the time. His hands were numb. He had a hernia, and during the winter he also had surgery. He had hernia surgery, and we thought he was going to die. He was very pessimistic and like, oh, my life is over and all this, which he gets like sometimes. And he survived the surgery. His hands were numb, so he could only play with like one finger for a long time. And there was space for me to help him and support him. And so in March of 2009, that was about 4 months after we met, we went out to the Angel Tunnel when the snow was beginning to thaw, finally. And it wasn't so fucking freezing. I had no idea what to wear. I had no idea how to dress. It was quite an experimental time for me. And Thoth was standing on his box on the foot drum box, and I had no idea what he was going to do, because I thought, I didn't know if he could even dance or move, and he just jumped off the foot drum and was jumping around and running around and dancing and singing, and I just kind of went, okay, here we go. And Susanna actually came to the tunnel a few days after we first started playing together and took some really amazing photos of us, which I need to go back and find and share. I would love to share pictures and videos from that time. I'll actually try to do that. Because it's incredible little photos it just brings back so many memories of what the fuck was going on back then. And we spent many months playing together, and the break dancers it was just a nightmare. It was like, as the spring and the summer came on, it was just dealing with all the bullshit of Central Park in New York City and the Angel Tunnel, what the Angel Tunnel was already becoming in 2009, just this circus nightmare, horrible thing where the breakdancers would... What were their names, Bunny? Those breakdancers?
We don't have to name them.
Yeah, there's just horrible assholes. Just blaring their boom boxes right outside the tunnel. We couldn't even hear ourselves sing. It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare even in 2009. And before that. So, but eventually I guess I'm telling the whole story of our time in New York initially. Eventually, probably in like June or July or something of that summer, 2009, there started going signs up everywhere. Little signs everywhere saying no busking, no street music is not allowed in Bethesda Terrace anymore. And it's just, Thoth had been playing there for 10 years. He was a complete legend in that space. He basically started the whole scene of busking and performing at the Angel Tunnel in that area. He was really the first one to start doing it there, performing there, before it just became a huge tourist nightmare. And but all these signs were going up, and park rangers would start coming and stopping us and like telling us, no, you can't play here anymore, and music is not allowed, amplified sound isn't allowed. And I knew why. It was because the whole fucking thing was just becoming a circus, and they didn't know what to do other than just try to stop all of it. They couldn't say amplified sound isn't allowed at all and acoustic music is allowed, because we were the only people ever singing completely acoustic with we didn't have the loops or we didn't have any amplified. We've never used amplified, amplifying our voices. And so one day came, and the park rangers came and like basically surrounded us and said, you can't play here anymore. And we refused to stop. And that's a whole other story. We didn't, and they dragged us away in handcuffs. And that was the day that I think Thoth fell in love with me, because he realized that I wasn't going to abandon him, because of course he had so much trauma surrounding being abandoned by people and feeling abandoned in his work and all of that, which I now have the trauma as well. We had our being very naughty in the park and having our little trysts in the park, and every day after we played we would go and make out in different places, and it was wonderful, so much fun. And but eventually Thoth's girlfriend found out and confronted me, and that was all a drama and a nightmare in the rain, and I was crying, and it was just horrible. And I wasn't very nice because I was 21 years old and I didn't know what I was doing. I just wanted to be with Thoth. And eventually Thoth made the decision. Like, he said, if you wanted to go somewhere, if we were just going to, run away somewhere, this was almost a year after meeting, where would you want to go? Would you want to go to Amsterdam, something, and, Australia or somewhere else? And I said, Amsterdam. Let's go to Amsterdam, because I've never been to Amsterdam. And so basically almost a year to the day, November 17th, 2009, we flew away to Amsterdam, and that was the beginning of our life together. And now here we are, 15 years later, in Chiang Mai, and we're moving to Bali next month, at the end of next month, and one would never have any idea that this would be our life, and what an incredible life it is we live. And sometimes it really sucks, and it really is painful. But having him is just an amazing gift, and come back, please. And he's still here. He's still alive, and he's still doing his thing. He's trying his best. You have anything to say about any of this? Nothing.
It's very digressive.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I think I just get really excited when I do get very excited when people actually pay attention to our story.
People paying attention?
Yeah, there's like 7 people actually watching and paying attention. Because people don't ask questions. People don't seem to be very interested. Yes? You gonna say something?
I'm just looking at what it looks like and all this stuff.
Isn't it interesting? I love you so much. I have paid attention. Thank you so much. It really, it's just, people don't ask questions. But if you have any questions for us and you have questions and you want to know something, please ask me, because I'm so happy to answer questions. And I'll get Thoth to answer questions if you have questions for Thoth. Please ask Thoth questions. If you have questions for Thoth, leave them in the comments and ask him questions, and he will answer you. I will make him answer you. Thoth really talks if we see you, we hear you, we feel you. Thank you. What?
Well, the whole thing, what does that mean?
People are just commenting.
What does that mean? Send a request to be in your life?
Nothing. It's nothing. You're so funny. You don't know anything about this stuff, do you?
Well, I don't know what
this is. Like a little baby.
Yeah, so that's something is that please ask us questions. If you have questions about our life, if you have questions about how we've done, like, if you want us to tell stories about our life, if you'd like to hear more about certain parts of our life, if you have questions about how we make art, why we make art, what we do together, what the meaning of what we do, please ask us, because that, for me, is the most engaging thing that anybody can do, is that ask questions and engage with us in that kind of way, because in this modern world, people just don't ask questions. People don't seem interested. See, go away. He waves and says hi. He's so sweet. He stays with me.
I don't know that type of waving. I wave like this.
Wave like this. Okay. So, yeah. Please, I really, really, that's what I want, is people to engage with us and ask questions about our life and ask questions about our thoughts and our beliefs about things, because otherwise I feel like I'm just talking to the wall. When I feel like there are people there that are interested and engaged and want to know things, that helps me so much. It helps me so much when people actually engage with us. If I didn't look like crap, I'd ask you to join your live LOL. Been inspired by you for years, since before you were with Thoth in New York City. You are endlessly magical and inspiring. Who is that? I would love a story time with Tribal Baroque. Okay, all right. Sounds good. That's a good story time with Tribal Baroque. I'm really just trying to figure all of this out, just like anybody else is. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't know what people want. I know that it would be great if we could, like, fucking release the music that we've recorded over the last 15 fucking years and put that out on things. That's a whole process in and of itself, and something I want to do. But I'm doing so fucking much by myself. I am running this Instagram page. I am running our YouTube channel. I am, buying tickets and finding housing and figuring out and getting visas and all of this shit, and figuring out, where we can play, and trying to connect with people and make friends and be, try to keep Thoth being social and making sure that he's safe and taking care of Thoth. And Thoth has fucking seizures every 2 months, and I have to take care of him, and he takes care of me when I get sick. I mean, we only have each other, and it really, 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 really helps me to know that there are other people out there who are interested in what we do. Like, people who actually would want to hear our music. Like, would anyone be actually interested in us putting out albums of our music? The reason for the last long period of time, like, we have tons of music that we've recorded. I've not put it out because I just don't think anybody cares much. Because everything is so fucking oversaturated. I want stories of how you figured out logistics. Yeah, that's a whole story too, of like how I fucking figure everything out. For us to get from place to place. How we've survived for so long doing this. There's so much. Yeah, happy stories. We have a lot of happy stories. We have a lot of sad stories, a lot of painful stories. Yeah, please tell me, for sure. Put the albums out, but I think your truest magic is live. I know. Who are you? I recognize your name, but I'm not remembering who you are. Who is this person? For sure, put the albums out, though I think your truest magic is live. It's true. It's like the way that we live and perform it's such a challenging thing, because who is this? Yeah, I recognize you. I recognize a very old fan, aren't you? I would love to hear your music. I watch some of your videos from the Beltane when I want to hear something. Yeah, I've been thinking about that. I miss Thoth. I remember him playing violin at 24th and Mission in the early 80s. Oh my God. Oh my God. How long ago is that? You've been following us for 2000, for 40 years? Am I crazy? Is that 40 years or 35, however fucking long that is? See, it's like there are some people. As a performer myself, I wish I could be as free as both of you. I adore you. 40 years. Oh my God, this person has been following you for 40 years.
That's interesting.
Oh my God, that's incredible. Say hello, Thoth.
That is a long time ago.
That's I remember him in his black shirt.
Black skirt.
Oh, his black skirt, you mean?
Yep. I started.
Look at him today.
I
Isn't
started
he
opening up
glorious?
to my. Yeah, I had long dreadlocks.
Yeah, beautiful.
I was teaching everybody how to have dreadlocks then.
I can leave my glasses on. Yeah, long dreadlocks. Thank you. I'm kind of shy about wearing glasses. Isn't that stupid?
Yeah, at the time, I was teaching all the hairdressers how to do the dreadlocks thin, because they didn't know how to do it yet. They didn't know how to use coconut oil. Coconut oil was so misunderstood.
Oh, you're so funny. Why are you talking about coconut oil for?
Because it's very good for dreadlocks.
Look at this puff. Let me see the puff. Let me show you. This is his puff. Thoth is almost 70, my friends, and he has this beautiful
Well, it's
puff.
interesting that all the guys are having their hair ponytailed at this point, and or the guys don't have hair there.
Yeah. 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 Beautiful long dreadlocks and no shirt. No nothing. I know. He's still such a beautiful, sexy. Oh, I love him so much. It's crazy how isn't the puff cute? It's so cute. He's still so beautiful. Beautiful little cutie pie. I love him, and I know that there are other people that love Thoth. And it's like, please let it not be only me. I mean, come on. Do people love Thoth? It's like, are there other people out there who love Thoth? Because a lot of the time, Thoth feels very alone. And Thoth feels like nobody gives a flying fuck about him. And he's been doing his work for 40 years, right? What a gorgeous person. Yellfire just said, what a gorgeous man. Yes. I mean, this is very encouraging, my friends. Thank you. We're very isolated in the way that, like, we don't have a place to go out in the world and pray for him anymore. It's not, world is, Thoth is ahead of his time. Yes, it's true. Yes, he is. Ta-da! Yes, he is. He is a genius. Thoth is a genius. He's a very, very, very special being. And he's still alive. He's still doing this. Not a lot of people think of him and wonder... No, a lot of people think of him and wonder where he went.
You read it very strangely.
I know. Do you have anything to say?
I do have a lot to say. And I do find that the things I do want to talk about, I wonder if people would care very much. So it's very difficult to open up.
Well, how do you feel about this stuff? How do you feel about that? This is all.
It's interesting that I'm very, very dedicated to acoustic music, to expressing oneself in an acoustic manner, because that's the core. That's where and the core is the heart, and so to have to really illustrate, demonstrate music coming from the core is perhaps one of the most important things for holding our power as humans. Because if we lose that power, then we can be manipulated by anything.
You're both amazing artists doing what you love. Your violin in the BART station is amazing. If I knew how to make documentaries, I would make one about you. I get so much from your presence. Thank you. No, we care about you. Yes, we do. Thoth is loved. It was amazing to find you again. I want my friends who travel and interview magical people to try and interview you.
Miratiki Rory, how did you find this channel? Did it just...
Yeah, how did all of you find us? Because we're the name is Tribal Baroque, and it's not Thoth. It's not Thoth and Lila'Angelique. It's Tribal Baroque. How? I mean, please tell us. Like, how did you all find us? How did you find him through Tribal Baroque? I'm very curious about that, because from taking the name Tribal Baroque, like, Thoth gave up the name Thoth. I mean, his name is Thoth, but...
Actually, I'm going to get the violin out.
Okay, he's inspired. You're all inspiring him because you're staying and paying attention. Look at that. See, it's like we have so much to share with people if people would just fucking pay attention. Yeah. If people would just pay attention to us and pay attention to what we have to say and what we have to share, we have so much to share.
Thoth is inspired now. Like, he usually doesn't even want to play for anybody. Well, he doesn't want to share anything online. And it's because people don't care. It's this feeling of that people don't give a shit. And look, he's taking out his violin because he wants to play. Because you're paying attention. Thank you for paying attention. I mean, you're not, like, going away because you're, like, being bored by what I'm talking about or something. Is he gonna play? Yay!
Yep.
Amazing that he did that. That's incredible. Bunny, do you have anything else to say? People want to hear what you have to say. Mm-hmm. What do you feel about this thing of being online? What do you feel? How do you feel?
I feel that as much as I did that, I do know that it's the live thing of me looking into a being's eyes to express that core love that I have, a love that comes from an immense amount of oppression by early United States behavior. Racism, sexism, genderism, all the things that I kind of broke, like it's just a complete
way
anomaly.
Ahead of your time. Way ahead of your time.
But the only way that I really could get around it was to find music, and that core music to almost transform the hatred that I experienced in my childhood into love, and to turn it into a different thing, to change it. A problem the world still suffers from. People hate each other and then start killing each other quite nicely. So that's why I always did it in public too, because I wanted to express my love in public and just give it to everybody, whether they wanted to receive it or not, because it's much nicer to receive love than it is to receive hate.
Mm-hmm. Good boys.
So maybe I should put up my glasses and see
what are people saying? Let's see.
I...
Thank you everyone for writing it. It also means a lot for people to just write things and like engage with us. It really, really makes a difference for you to write things and say things. Let's see. Yes, we would like another documentary made about us. This is something that I've been waiting for 15 fucking years. I think we deserve to have a documentary made about our lives. I think what we do is absolutely incredible.
She's a rough one.
Yes, I am.
I'm kind of dainty.
He's very dainty, and I am a ruffian. Say, fucking hell, fuck everyone. Everyone should pay attention to us and really care about what we're doing, because what we do is amazing. And fuck everyone. That's the way I am. And Thoth is like, ooh, oh, like that. Let's see. It said, if I knew how to make documentaries, I would make one about you. I get so much from your presence. You are both amazing artists doing what you love. Your violin in the Bart was amazing.
It was nice. It was wonderful that you got to hear and be there physically with me.
Yeah.
And because the acoustics there were really beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Miratiki Rory.
I was happy to find you. Was missing you in New York. Someone mentioned I asked people like how they discovered us. Someone mentioned your Instagram on an SF Remembered page on Facebook. Found Thoth originally in a documentary long ago. Marvelous. You should do TikTok. People have mentioned TikTok.
What is TikTok? What is TikTok?
TikTok is like Instagram, but it's more popular. Do live stream. Pray for him live. They will come. Then I saw you in person, and the Angel Tunnel was blown away to get to meet you in person. Amazing performances. Yay, yes. Random scrolling on Instagram. That's where I found you. Wee, yay.
Really? Random?
Isn't that weird?
So interesting.
That was everything. Thank you. Love this. Thank you, Thoth. That was a gift. Thank you. Brilliance. If only we could all do the same. Transformation. Hello. How have you stayed hopeful? I can't figure out how to stay hopeful these days. That's a good question. Me and my brother watched you a lot in the tunnel in New York City, but I'd visit anytime I was near. Yeah, how have you kept going?
That is a question that you ask me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I still go into places and play against a lot of rejection, and I'm hopeful that love will come.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps it was in that hope that I received you when you first said what you said to me.
Yeah, probably. You were hopeful. Yeah, because you were alone at the tunnel for 10 years before you ever met me. How the fuck did you do that?
Well, I was hopeful just the other day when we played at Calm. And I went into a place where it said art and it said all those wonderful words about art and creativity, and I said, this is a place that I would love to play and give them the gift of love. And we played a little bit in there, and I was also very hopeful there.
But we're in this position now where we're like, the reason why we're moving back to Bali is because
somebody loves us there.
Yeah, someone loves us there. It's the first time two people who have a space with good acoustics who said, you are welcome here. You can come back here and play here, and you can be a part of this journey with us. You can be part of our team. The School of Unified Healing, that's why we're going back. Is because this thing of just wandering around the world looking for acceptance and looking for being embraced that's another story we need to tell, is why did we leave the Angel Tunnel? That's a whole story. Somebody has asked that, and I'll tell that story. I saw you under the bridge in Golden Gate Park.
That sounds like a COVID story.
On the middle of the night. It was wonderful. Yeah, that was an incredible time, wasn't it? That's actually when I started sharing online on Instagram. I realized that maybe sharing on Instagram was a good idea. I'm so proud of you for singing.
It's a little thing.
It's very good. So next story time will be, I think, why we left New York City and why we no longer play in the Angel Tunnel, because that's a whole story in and of itself, and I'll tell that story and we'll talk about it. There's a lot to tell about that, and there's a reason why we left New York. We left the United States, and we're no longer in the United States or New York City, and we may never go back there. We're moving to Bali, and we're trying to find peace and serenity in our fucking lives, which we deserve. So, thank you all so much for staying and watching and paying attention. That's all we really need, is we just need people to pay attention to what we have to say.
Thank you.
If somebody says, I trust TikTok will love this, that is so funny. TikTok makes me want to throw up. Just social media, yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
I don't believe you. I don't believe you. It's, sorry.
She's more violently, I don't know TikTok.
That's like,
I don't know what TikTok is, but she's very violent against it.
I'm not violent against it. I'm just like, social media is bullshit. But I do know. I'll tell that story. What's so bad about New York? There's plenty of bad things about New York. New York is still wonderful. We were there. We were there recently, actually, in this last May. We were there for a bit. Yeah, I'll tell that story next. Why we left New York, and why we're here, and why our lives have changed so significantly, and the significance of that, and the significance of us leaving New York and letting go of all of that, letting go of the Angel Tunnel and saying goodbye to it, because that's the place where we met. That's the place where our lives started together. So thank you all so much. And if you have questions, please just leave them in the comments. Any question. Don't be afraid to ask any kind of question. I'm an open book. I'm an open book in regards to questions. And Thoth will answer questions. If you are interested.
But I'm not an open book.
Thoth is not an open book, but because I am, I get him to answer questions. So please ask questions. Please be curious. Please be interested. Because that makes all the difference in our lives. It makes all the difference when people are interested and curious about us and want to know, because we have a lifetime of stories and interesting philosophies and ways of thinking about our life and of life in general, and the way the world has evolved and changed in ways that other people do not. And if people are interested, we love sharing, and I love sharing. So thank you all so much. It just means so much to me. Thank you. Thank you.